why is this engine superior? Are these modern technologies that you are able to integrate with the engine the reason why it is so pricey? We are receiving now orders for the TurboShark from all over the world. What support can the customers expect? A lot of people ask us, why did we choose the Edge Performance engine for the TurboShark? Well, there's nobody better to ask than the one who engineered it and founded Edge Performance company 20 years ago, Thomas Hauplian.
Yeah, thank you. So, the main benefit of this engine and the challenges we stood in front of with the standard Rotax engines, and don't get me wrong, those are remarkable engines. That's what we base our engines off of. But we have certain constraints with the Shark because it's a narrow tandem, pointy aerodynamic aircraft. So we had to come up with a design that allowed us to put all the benefits of turbo, injection, intercooling within a really tight package. So we had to re-engineer the induction system, the fuel injection. We had to make a custom one-off bespoke exhaust system, intercooler, and everything to fit in this very limited amount of space.
And Thomas, why is this engine superior than others in the same class that are now available on the market?
So, one of our big benefits is that we specialize in customization of engines. It's not like we design a one-off engine that everyone has to build their airplane around. We build our engines to fit specific OEM airframes. So that allows us to make customized parts. We use exotic materials, thin-walled, TIG-welded aluminum piping. We put a lot of effort into the design. And by doing so, we can actually go and design, test, and tune and develop the engine specifically per airframe. Because there's a lot of variations out there. There's different propellers, there's different exhaust systems, different drag curves on the airplanes, and we put effort into designing a specific engine per airframe.
This engine that we chose for the TurboShark has the best power-to-weight ratio on the market. How did you manage to get that balance, getting that much power out of the engine and keeping the weight so low?
So we started off with a well-proven Rotax 912 UL. This shares the same platform as the already well-known Rotax 914 Turbo. So we start off with a factory new 912 UL engine. We don't do any internal modifications, so it's all OEM parts, it's all well-proven from Rotax. And then we designed and used our modern technology as the turbo system, the intercooler, the fuel injection, and optimized that to be as a light and efficient and powerful engine as possible without compromising reliability. So we can embrace modern technology and put it into the market a lot quicker by being a dynamic company, and so we do. But I would like to point out as well that we actually do manufacture and test our engines according to ASTM standards. So we comply with the ASTM rules and regulations for piston aircraft manufacturing and testing.
Are these modern technologies that you are able to integrate with the engine the reason why it is so pricey?
Okay, so the reason that these engines tend to be a bit more expensive than your regular Rotax engine, for instance, is that we are not necessarily focused on mass producing the engines in high volumes where we need to focus on pricing. We use exotic materials, thin wall piping. We don't necessarily cast our parts just for pricing. We focus on making the engine as light and efficient as possible. It's all handcrafted. It's not necessarily made out of a mold. And this also adds, cost and labor. So this is one of the points that makes our engines a bit more expensive than a standard engine.
Yeah, I guess no compromises, only the best materials, the highest quality you can find.
That's also a valid point. Yeah, we source our materials from different suppliers, and it's all the highest grade materials, finishes. We even anodize our aluminum to not get corrosion. So we put a lot of effort into making this a top-tier premium product.
Now with the injection, the engine requires electricity to run. What if there's an electricity failure?
So as Peter said here, the engine now requires electricity to run because it's fuel injected. What we have done now is instead of the one alternator that comes standard on the Rotax engines, we have added a secondary one. And obviously we have the 12-volt battery like all planes does. So we have now 3 sources of power. We have 2 alternators and 1 battery. So in the very unlikely event of a dual alternator failure, we can continue to run the engine on the battery for about 45 minutes, which gives you plenty of time to land safely.
You're a very experienced pilot with thousands of hours. You're the aerobatic champion in Norway, and you chose the Shark for yourself. Why?
Well, it was an easy choice for me. Obviously, as many know, I've owned a Shark in the past. I acquired my first Shark back in 2014. And once I sold it in about 2017, I've always been looking back at getting a Shark. For me, it feels natural to fly a tandem. It gives you the perfect view. You're centered in center axis. And the sportiness, the feel of the Shark with your hands on stick and throttle gives you that fighter-like feeling. There's no other plane that gives you this feedback and the sporty feel as the Shark does. So for me, it was a clear and easy choice. It's just way up there above the other competitors, in my opinion.
We are receiving now orders for the TurboShark from all over the world. What support can the customers expect?
So as I mentioned previously, our engines are based on the standard Rotax engines. So your regular consumables like oil, spark plugs, oil filters is widely available globally from any Rotax distributor or reseller. Specific to the Edge Performance, we have also over our 20 years established a global dealer network. So we have dealers in most big areas, big countries, Europe, North America, South America, Australia, New Zealand. We're basically everywhere that can give you the heavy maintenance support and any spare parts as you may require. So we offer both shipping directly from us in Norway, worldwide through DHL Express, or you can get help, support and parts from your local distributor.
Excellent. How much more complex is the maintenance of an Edge engine compared to a standard Rotax?
That's a perfect question, actually, because we start off with a carbureted engine that we modified to fuel injection. And everyone who's been maintaining Rotax engines over the years, they know that the carburetors are sometimes the most tedious components to maintain. They're obviously out of the way now. So you're left with oil change, spark plugs, leak down test, friction check on the gearbox, all those standard maintenance tasks. But all of the tedious carburetor maintenance and fiddling with tweaking them and balancing the carburetors is gone. So it's actually less maintenance now than with your standard carbureted engine.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah?
And so will our customers, I'm sure.
Yeah. If you have any further questions, feel free to ask.
Thank you, Thomas. Drop your questions down in the comments, and thank you for watching.